order Myrtle Creek Urban Renewal Agency regular meeting for June 2nd, 2026. Roll call, please.
Director Vic Dillon.
Here.
Director Robert Cheney.
Here.
Director Diana Larson. Here. Director Kathy Brown.
Here.
Director Jamie McElmurray. Here. And Director Rick Held.
Here. All right, stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizens heard non-agenda items. Byron.
I mean, it's on the agenda at 6:1, so I don't want to wait or.
We can, if we want to, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, not do that, okay. All right, public hearing. I will now open the public hearing for the 2026-2027 fiscal year budget. This time is 6:04. This is a time set aside for a public hearing on the 2026-2027 fiscal year budget. The procedure for this hearing will be as
Point of
follows.
order, Mayor.
We need to do the.
We have approval minutes first.
Oh, I missed it. My bad. Scratch that.
Sorry.
We're not going into this. Do I have to officially close out that?
No.
Okay. We're going to do consent agenda. Consent agenda approval of minutes of regular urban renewal agency meeting for May 5th, 2026.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of the regular urban renewal agency meeting for May 5th, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And now, the public hearing. I will now open the public hearing for 2026-27 fiscal year budget. The time is 6:05. This is a time set aside for a public hearing on the 26-27 fiscal year budget. The procedure for this hearing will be as follows. We will first hear from the city administrator. We will then hear from those who wish to comment or question the directors or staff. I ask that only one person speak at a time, and only after stating your name and address for the record, everyone will be given a chance to speak. Will the city administrator please report?
Evening, financial officer.
Thank you, Chairman and board members. I'm pleased to present our budget for the Myrtle Creek Urban Renewal Agency for the 26-27 fiscal year. It is with great thoughtfulness and dedication that staff has prepared this balanced budget for your review. I would especially like to thank our financial officer for her time and effort in preparing this budget document. The Myrtle Creek City Council has appointed the City of Myrtle Creek Budget Committee to serve as the budget committee for the Myrtle Creek Urban Renewal Agency. The city of Myrtle Creek has numerous undeveloped and underdeveloped properties in the city limits. In an effort to establish a funding source for improving these properties, the city formed the Myrtle Creek Urban Renewal Agency in 2018. The urban renewal boundary included the downtown and other under or undeveloped properties in the city boundary. A plan for the Urban Renewal Agency was developed with the parameters for a 30-year time frame. It was originally anticipated that the plan would take 30 years of tax increment collections to implement. At the current level of tax collection, it appears the plan may take 25 years of tax increment collections to implement. The maximum amount of indebtedness for the amount of tax increment financing for projects and programs that may be issued for the plan is $8,059,393. Goals and objectives for this plan are intended to guide the tax increment financing investments in the area over the life of the plan. The project category descriptions and lists of projects are intended to aid future decision makers when considering how best to expend funds generated by tax increment financing. The plan is to be administered by the city's urban renewal agency. Any amendments to the plan that are considered substantive must be approved by the city council. The combined total proposed fiscal year 26-27 urban renewal budget is $1,926,288. 2026-27 revenue in the form of tax increment revenue is expected to be $350,000 plus net working capital in the amount of $1,543,288 and investment interests of $33,000 totaling $1,926,288. Expenditures are projected to be $5,000 for operating supplies, $10,000 in contractual services, $6,200 for the visitor center, $200,000 for capital outlay, and $300,000 for grant recipients. There are plans to update the community center, get better lighting for downtown, and replace sidewalks with ADA sidewalks with the capital outlay funds. With the revised grant program, the budget for this year's grant allocation is $300,000. For the 26-27 fiscal year, we anticipate a $1,380,088 ending fund balance. The Myrtle Creek Urban Renewal Agency will support efforts to make Myrtle Creek more attractive to potential investors. Projects in the plan will improve the quality of life of the people we serve. Through careful planning and investments, we hope to achieve these goals. Thank you, Zachar.
We will now hear from anyone who wishes to comment or ask questions.
Well, what were you saying about the community center? You said something about.
We plan to do upgrades to the community center. Yeah.
What dollar amount is considered substantial?
What are you referring to?
You said something about that it was budgeted with the exception of substantial something, and I didn't know what dollar amount was substantial. What that threshold was. Is it 100,000, 500,000, like we're in a $1 million budget, what are we considering substantial?
I'm looking to figure out where.
Where you use the word substantial?
Yeah. Oh, maybe it was substantive. Maybe I misspoke.
Okay.
Fast reading. Because it's, any amendments to the plan that are considered substantive, it
Yeah,
must be approved by the
Yeah,
council.
that's different.
that's where we were, yeah.
Okay.
Got that.
Any other questions from the directors? Sure. Yes, any more questions? Is there anyone that would like to add anything before I close the public hearing?
I'll step up. Should I state my name and address one more time? This is Andrew Griffin. I'm from Roseburg, Oregon. I just had a question about on the previous budget about some of the grants. It was under the grants section. I was just wondering if you could outline a little bit more, some details on what specifically you're planning for that 300,000, just because I'm unaware.
So, we give grants out to, local businesses.
I see. Okay.
For beautification, basically, painting, new roof. So,
You wouldn't know this, but we're going to talk about that actually
Oh, we'll get right to that then.
yes.
in the regular grant. We talk about the grant specifically.
I'll be patient.
Some examples of some of the projects that we have funded are like we just funded Tommy All-American Burgers for painting a roof.
Right, I gotta go back in there.
The building behind Tucka has had some significant improvements and then
Right. It's in an effort to promote economic growth
Right.
within the city. And that's what the Urban Renewal Agency is all about, is assisting with the revitalizing our downtown. I mean.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, this public hearing is now closed for the 26-27 fiscal year budget. The time is now 6:12.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 26-001, resolution adopting the budget, making appropriations and declaring the tax increment for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, nay? You said people, you said aye. All right, motion carried. Okay, regular agenda. 6.1, urban renewal budget improvement grants. Leslie, do you start? Who's gonna talk about that, or anybody?
So it's, because we already gave it to you guys, and you guys wanted us to come back with, more of a color. scheme.
Public ballot.
Yes. So. Is it at the bottom of this page?
It is,
So, yeah.
9 of 14.
Yes, so, it states paint colors should complement each other and overall character of the structure. Lighter natural earth tones or subtle colors designed to mimic stone, including whites, off-whites, creams, beiges, straws, and gray should be used for the main body of the structure. Stronger contrasting colors featuring deeper tones should be used for trim and accent pieces. You guys like that?
Sounds great to me.
Sounds what we were shooting for.
I don't know, I'll let you just speak. Thank you.
Byron Mangello, 415 Northwest Third Street. Good evening, council or board members. I'm not sure what you are at the exact moment. So a quick update, Rose Motel, thank you again for the grant, the 25-26 grant. Rose Motel is going great. Progress includes, both the buildings have been roofed. We have a structural framing inspection tomorrow. The rough plumbing is all in, electrical is starting next week. There's water there, water turned on, paid water now. So things are going really, really well with that. So thank you again for your support on that previous project. I did have some comments on this document here, the upgraded, or the 26-27 urban renewal building grant improvement. Specifically, the one line that owners may only receive funding for one grant per business location every other year. I just wanted to bring up a couple of points regarding that. So I think that completion of these projects creates value faster for us and for the community. The proposed restriction may result in partially completed projects sitting unfinished for an additional year. In my own case, as I mentioned, like structural improvements and all the interior stuff's going to be done, but I may be required to delay exterior painting and pavement till a later funding cycle. And that doesn't improve the appearance of the district, accelerate economic activity, or provide a better return on public investment. It's just going to delay its completion. I also think that we should reward momentum. I understand the desire to spread the funds out among multiple property owners. However, the proposed restriction is going to unintentionally, I think, slow down some of the most successful projects in town. When a property owner completes a project on time, follows all the grant requirements, invests substantial private capital, and demonstrates measurable progress, that's exactly the type of investment that the urban renewal program is designed to encourage. And finished projects in small towns creates confidence, right? Seeing actual things completed, seeing things that went from basically the worst property in Myrtle Creek, as most can agree on, to something I think that we're all going to be proud of. I think is gonna, when we see projects move from blight to completion, I think it builds confidence in the urban renewal program as well as in the community itself. Whereas multiple years of unfinished work creates kind of the opposite impression. I support broad participation in the program. However, a completed project should not become ineligible solely because it was successful. A project that meets every requirement, finishes on schedule, generates visible community benefit should remain eligible to compete for future funding. I have some proposed alternative language maybe that you guys could comment on or mull around. But maybe we could the Urban Renewal Agency could waive the every other year requirement for projects that have successfully completed a previously funded phase and demonstrate substantial additional public benefit. That would give us a little flexibility there without eliminating the rule. As a reminder, the program already contains substantial safeguards to ensure that the public funds are used responsibly. Because of protections already exist, I'm not sure an additional every other year restriction is necessary to accomplish the program's goals. As a reminder, right, promoting continued pride of ownership, reducing blight, and fostering economic growth are the goals of the program. Possibly an unintended consequence is invested in multiple properties within the urban renewal district, and delaying the completion of one is just going to delay the start of another one, which is overall going to result in fewer visible improvements throughout downtown, not more. The restriction slows completion, delays visible improvements, reduces economic impact, and may discourage large-scale rehabilitation projects, all of which are at opposite of the goals of the Urban Renewal Agency. So in closing, my goal is not to receive special treatment. My goal is to complete projects that improve Myrtle Creek as quickly and responsibly as possible. And I would encourage the board to consider whether the every other year restriction advances that goal or whether it unintentionally delays the very revitalization the urban renewal program was created to support. One completed project can unlock the next investment, creating a chain of improvements throughout the district, which I think is ultimately all of our goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, like I said, that makes a lot of sense, and I know that there was some talk and concern about the house that's next to the library because it took so long, and I don't know if it's rented now, but you know, it used to have a lot of people in it, and the guy has been working on it for a long time. So this is what he's bringing up is by restricting the possible financial support, we would be essentially spreading out something that could be completed rather quickly into a lot longer time.
But am I mistaken that our goal is to assist people with projects and not fund entire projects through the urban renewal? I mean, I understand you purchased the building, that is a huge undertaking, and I don't remember how much we awarded you, but it was a substantial amount, if I'm correct.
50,000.
So we give you the full 50,000, and you intend to apply for a second grant. At this point, since that wasn't listed in the first grant, would you still be eligible to apply in 26, 27, the way this is written? And so part of it is, I understand the wanting some buy-in. We want some buy-in from the business owners as well, that you can keep your business open and operational while improving.
That's different though. That's already.
Right, there's a lot of those stipulations.
But stipulating every other year also gives us the opportunity to spread it amongst other businesses. If we have,
Well, we have the discretion to say no to.
we do,
Or
but
the amount, also, we can,
Sorry, you can finish this.
we do have the opportunity to say no, but limiting it to every other year also allows and requires some buy-in from the business owners, not specifically related to Byron, but some of the other business owners that are looking for full funding of projects. That saying every other year you can apply requires them to have some buy-in in their own project and not expect us to just fund it for us.
I'm with Jamie on that, and not using it, not specific to Byron, but my thinking on that was, I was one of the ones that said, once every other year. Because I can see, and you know what's gonna happen, being abused of the system. Where you would have,
Have it being close to.
right.
somebody could ask for a $15,000 grant each year, every year, and not have to put a dime into it of their own money. And I have a real problem with that.
Doesn't the grant require?
No, 15,000 is going to be 100%.
But don't they have to have some, buy-in already, where we don't just give them the money and they don't put anything into the project.
No, they can invoice it and it's paid directly, there's no outlay.
Up to the first 15,000, anything over 15,000.
There's a breakdown, starts 75, 50, you know, the breakdown on that is at over 15.
I see both points of view, so
Can I respond? I mean, I totally get that concern, especially for, like you said, the smaller projects, right? Like trying to milk the 15 every time. Of course, it's up to your guys' discretion to say no, but this is a $500,000 project, right? And under the, I don't want to live too much in the past, but under the old grant rules, the way that it was written would have been 120,000 of support from council, right? Sir, from the city.
up to 120,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, right, this isn't me trying to milk a small project or do whatever your guys, your concern is, Robert. Yeah.
Not singling you out specifically as an overall for the whole program, you know, yeah, I like what you're doing.
No, I mean, so am I, and that's why I'm up here.
Someone that abuses the application process and.
But again, we have the discretion to say no.
Right, and that's what we're here for, to,
But currently, we've approved, because we have the funding available, that, so if he comes back to us, if we take that out and he comes back to us in July, and we say, okay, here's another 40,000 for your project, or 50,000, whatever we look at, and then 20 other people apply and we don't have the funding available because we've given it to him because he's moving forward, are we limiting other places making improvements, or devil's advocate here, just,
I mean, that's just the way the grants written.
right, there's only so much people
so.
need to apply if they're interested, and if they come in, a few months later and the money's all.
But we've also changed the window of
Yes.
how people can apply too, right? Is that we're small windows now?
No, it's, you apply, we review on a quarterly basis,
Right.
apply time, we review on a
That's
quarterly
what I mean,
basis.
yeah,
Yes.
review so that I'm not, yeah, so.
I mean, I think if worst case scenario, the road, you guys put in another grant and the road motel is done, that's a win for everybody. I mean, that's the biggest blight in the whole, it isn't, yeah, it's just-
Agree 100% with building.
I think Brewster is, in favor, because that was kind of announced of,
But we have to look at this not as individuals, but as an overall. We're not looking at individuals and businesses individually. We have to look at this as an overall.
It's a program as a whole.
Yeah.
and go by
Yeah,
what
and-
we've written out.
So, yeah, but so why is every other year in benefit as a whole? Like, I understand maybe,
Right,
because now you're.
As she said, ownership within
So,
taking ownership and
what was the
buying.
reason that we wanted to add, can you remind me, because I don't remember the reason we wanted to change it to every other year?
Because Bob said.
Bob's recommendation, and it was to be able to give to more, to be able
And,
to.
and to limit those from every year coming up and asking for, I'm sure, we can deny it, but but when you do that, you set precedent too. But asking for a $15,000 grant and they're putting something in it, into their business every year that we're paying for, and there is no outlay on their part, no buy-in on that business's part as a whole.
but Robert, we're restricting, like you said, this is a program that has to cover a lot of different projects, right? So the way that with the every other year now, you're restricting the bigger projects, the projects that are actually gonna bring more revenue, more tourism into the town. Go talk to people, they're, when are you opening? I wanna book it, my friends are coming in, all this stuff, right? Like, this is different investment than putting some new windows in or something like that. Like, this is a substantial investment. I mean, I'm lucky I'm sleeping at night as well as I am, right? Like, this is a major project. And I think that we need to have a grant program that supports the smaller stuff while restricting the abuse. That's what you guys are for, but can also support some of the bigger projects as well.
where are we with grants so far?
Do you mean monetarily
Right,
or?
how many have we given out?
Well,
How,
not,
what,
we're done for this year, this fiscal year.
Yes,
We won't take any more.
we've turned people away because they don't have enough time to get everything in.
We had never maxed out our.
No, we did not max out. We have a list of 4 or 5 or 6 people, or,
And the reason we never maxed out was because of the cumbersome of the document before.
or we have a list for 26, 27 of people that are already gonna apply.
and what does that look like
How much money?
monetarily?
We don't have these because we have to finalize the
Right,
application. So they have to get this new application to be able to apply, and we don't have any of them yet.
And then they'll have to get new bids on it and stuff, so that the
Yeah.
money's gonna change.
They just came in and inquired about it, so we wrote down their name, just to keep a tally,
How many?
between 4 and 6.
What's the difference between this new application and before? What was your, what was your response prior to?
So when the urban renewal started in 2018, and there have been, I want to say like 3 or 4 different grant applications because of different city administrators and things like that. My understanding is there was a previous grant that was taken advantage of by possibly 1 or 2 people, maybe 1. I think there was. But this grant has been the most successful that we.
Yeah, so it's opened up a little bit.
Yeah,
And
they do.
it's also obvious because you see.
You can see it around
You see
town.
the improvements, yeah, immediately.
It's Rick talking.
Rick, raise your hand.
Okay,
Yes. Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, I just want to point out that the 2 different grants are apples and oranges. The old grant where we only gave away 25 to 40% of the grant, and it never really reached the 50,000. This new grant, we're giving 15,000 for free, then 75% of anything over that after $50,000. So this new grant, $50,000 is very generous, a lot of money, and it should only be every other year for business.
Thank you, Rick.
I have a comment and.
Okay.
Your comment?
We would need a motion and,
Well,
a motion either way to keep it amended.
The only problem I still see is, let's say you said you have 6 people who have already showed interest, possibly. Say they come in, let's say they, all max out, we would eliminate the grant right away.
Correct.
One of them, let's say one of them has a big project, say it was by, I'm just, just
Right, yeah.
in general sense. They won't be able to apply for another 2 years before they can get something again. And that could kind
It's
of,
only if they're awarded.
right,
Yes.
I know.
He's assuming that
I'm
they're
assuming they're rewarded.
300,000 is done.
Cause like, if they all max it out, $300,000 we wiped out very first we get on this grant here. And then they would be able, nobody would be able to do anything for that for first next year. Anybody who did apply won't be able to do anything for a whole other year, and so it'd be almost 2 years before they will be able to apply again. That seems a little extreme, but I don't know.
You know, how long?
Like I said, like, it's our discretion. So I feel like we can control that issue, but Billy, if you wanna say something now, we will.
Should I just go up there
Yeah, just say your name and
or
address.
stay there? Stay on my feet for
You speak loud, I'm sure, go ahead.
Okay, Lily Jasmine Stock at 415 Northwest Church Street. I guess my comment is that, so this is a $500,000 project. We got 50,000, so that means $450,000 that we're putting in of our own money. Even if we got another grant for the maximum of 50,000, say you didn't change it, that's still only 20% of our costs. And I don't see anybody else putting in $400,000 of their own money, self-finance, like some of these other businesses are, it's great to put windows in, to paint things, to make it look better, but if you have a motel, people spend the night, they eat, they go shopping at Homestead, maybe they're coming to buy a house. This is a totally different kind of grant and business than someone who's repainting an existing business. And it also is a huge amount of, money, and I'm not sure there's any other I'm not sure, I haven't heard in town, but I haven't heard of anybody else who has a $500,000 project that they're getting ready to put in. And we put our money where our mouth is. We put in a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And I think talking about a $15,000 grant that nobody puts any money in of their own, they just get it, versus our situation where we're putting in, minimum right now, 450,000. If it costs us 500, we don't get any more money. And I don't know of any other business or person or developer or anybody, redevelopment in town that's putting that kind of money into our town. So I'm just saying that I think that the way you guys are talking about it seems like it's apples and oranges. Yeah, there is a $15,000 grant and that's a certain category. So maybe you can write it up a certain way, but I mean, we put a substantial amount of money and time and effort into the town. I don't see anybody else that's even come close to it. So that's my.
That sounds like a buy-in that you're talking about.
But once again, I'll say, you cannot look at this on an individual basis. It has to be looked at as a whole. We can't, I agree with what you're doing. It's fantastic, okay? But we can't look at that as you as an individual when we're developing this as a whole document for everyone out there.
But the question is, you're making it sound like if we were to go that route, we'd be benefiting them and it would be hurting everybody else. Like, where's the hurt? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, or vice versa. I'm kind of like,
And here's my question. Was there somebody that we awarded a grant to that said, never mind, we can't complete our project and denied the money? Or has everybody accepted it? And
No,
we don't give them the money until they.
Jason back up.
Jane couldn't get the windows in time, and so he backed out.
okay, so he's been awarded, but didn't utilize it, so then could he apply again?
Because it says receiving funding.
Okay,
And isn't this the proposed that we're working on here?
Well, then our
So
hope is to
we
make this-
haven't adopted it yet.
That's what the.
But we need
that's what the purpose of this meeting.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's my point, that we can decide whether or not to include every other year, or we can adjust it. And then we can determine on a case-by-case basis whether we think somebody's taking advantage of us or not.
Or the motion, get the motion.
I think
To adopt this or to make, to
change it
adopt it with that out.
Well, you can, you have to send it back to be rewritten.
So we're not gonna be able to adopt this.
So it's
We're gonna
gonna
No,
be
you can-
adopted with the.
You can adopt it and.
I would make a motion that we adopt this by, and amend that clause to be on a case-by-case basis annually for business.
We have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that. I think Lily's got a good point because, all I have seen, and it's been really slow progress, and I don't know, we talked about murals and we talked about other things that dress up the community. The surface of the rose, that mural is really nice, but I just want the buildings downtown to be painted, and so if we're creating a situation where, that's not gonna happen, or it's gonna be slow generating some, something other than paint, something that could bring in, things to the community. I would definitely, I see that we're making progress is what I'm seeing, and, so I'd like to see more of that.
I think this particular project is especially important because of the location and for the length of time that it's been a pit. And the fact that he has taken it on and he's made great strides. I don't see any taking advantage or abusing the grant process in any way. I really think it's going to be a benefit to the city overall. And we still have the same. If you feel that somebody's coming in here, every year, we'll know and we'll decide.
And people can only take advantage if we allow that to happen. So I don't know what the concern is. If we take that wording out, then we have some decision making, but if we leave that in, then that's the way it is. So adopting it with an annual ceiling makes sense to me, and then we can decide on a case-by-case basis how much and if.
One more question regarding this. If, so we're gonna meet the plan is to have quarterly meetings and review them quarterly. So say he applied in the first quarter and we gave him, is it up to 50,000 per year?
Anyone, not
So
just
he
kids,
can apply multiple
can't walk
quarters.
individuals.
Anybody can apply multiple quarters if they don't get up to 50,000. But, so the first quarter, I wanna do some windows and it's 10,000, say I have a $10,000 project. And then here comes the second quarter and I'm like, oh, I have additional money to do this. Can I reapply during the second quarter to get an additional 10,000?
It just says receive funding, so.
One grant per business.
One
One
grant
per
per
business,
fiscal year.
per business location.
So they can't come in for different things for
multiple times.
50,000 grant. They come in and we award.
So that's pretty restricted there.
I think it's restrictive all kinds of places where we can decide. But if you allow that to stay in and that's what we adopt, then we're restricting ourselves as to whether or not we can say.
Because the heart of this thing is to get people in there to apply. We can always say no. We feel like it's not in our best interest or not in the best interest of the city, but we're not getting anybody in here. We haven't got anybody in here. I know recently you guys have been active, getting people to come in, which has been awesome. That hasn't been the case before.
Yeah, we've gone through a lot of trouble to try to make this user friendly and then we're going to do something that will prevent something that's going to be so beneficial to the city that's been sitting there for a long time. Somebody's getting it done.
I have another comment. I know it seems like we're, just talking about our own, project, but the thing is there are no other projects that are of this scale. And if someone else came in and they had a $500,000 project and they said, hey, I want 50,000 and then I want, can I have another 50,000 if they're trying to do something that's important, like let's just say the movie theater or something, then that is, the only reason that we're talking individually about this project is because there's no others in this category. Otherwise, there would be other people who had a $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 project. So we're not asking for any special, consideration. It's just that there's nobody else who's been willing to put this kind of money into our downtown. And so we are the only one that's doing it. So it's not about special consideration. It's about you guys having the flexibility to decide yes or no about grants. And I would encourage you to make the grants as, to give you guys as much power as possible and less restrictions. So, because you guys can talk amongst yourselves and say, hey, we don't like this one, or this person's taking advantage, or hey, there's another $500,000 project. Let's give them 50 and then maybe another 50 because we need to get this town going. And I mean, I don't see any other big, huge redevelopment projects in downtown besides the Rose Motel. I don't see it. So I encourage you guys give yourselves the flexibility to do what you want. You can always say no. You can say, no, I don't like this business, or it's not worth it, or they're taking advantage, but that's just where I'm coming from.
Can I say something? Okay, at the last meeting, we also discussed and we pointed out, I think Bob did, like Winston gives $10,000 a year matching funds. There's no other city around this area that gives $60,000 to a single business. We are very generous with the urban renewal money, and I think it needs to stay as written to where it's $50,000. That's a lot of money, and you can apply it every other year. That's so much more than any other city gives.
I hear that. I mean, I guess I still wonder like, why the restriction, like, I mean, I understand like, besides the possible abuse which we can control,
Right, and I don't know what Winston's budget looks like either.
yeah.
We have a higher tax base than we do, but
They have a bigger spread as far as a,
Tax money or whatever, and
well, than the road that goes through there, but.
There's what, 1.3 million or something in the fund, in the urban renewal funding, right?
$100,000 for grants for the next fiscal year.
I mean, the real question is like, do we want to put this money to work, or do we want it to sit in and improve our town, improve investment? Let me move on to the Rice Building, improve that, get that going, or do you want to sit here and, you know, not make progress? I can come back next year and get a driveway and some paint, but is that really, like, is that really helping us is that driving economic growth? Is that, reducing blight? Is that continuing the pride of ownership in our town? I don't know.
We've already decided that 50,000 is what our number is. It's not 10,000. And I just don't like the idea of limiting our options by removing a year, you know, when we could just decide on our own each case.
Well, we
instead of-
do have the first and the second motion.
Yeah, so we can make a
About,
vote now.
can you repeat the motion one more time?
I would like to make a motion that we adopt the Urban Renewal Building Improvement Grant 2026-2027 with the, clause every other year be restated to every year, once a year annually. Case by case basis.
And Kathy second that, so. All in favor of that? I'll say aye too. You have to make a split.
It's split.
you don't, oh yeah, you do it this one, that's right.
So the split, so what happens now?
So you got to call for the, nays,
What's that?
call for the, opposed,
Verbal is
verbal opposed,
who,
Who's opposing?
Nay.
nay.
No,
I believe Rick.
yeah, I'm sure.
Rick, you're opposing it, correct?
Yes, I'm opposing it, I want it every other year.
Yeah.
Because also we're gonna look at the grant application next year, so if we find that we don't like it, we can take it out.
I don't see. a
When we go to
reason
tie. How does that work with the split vote?
Aye, motion fails.
And,
Rick, you want to make it home?
It must be the game. Is that, yes, something?
I
Well,
think
the whole
it
motion
was-
is- so nothing is-
It'll be 85.
so Zach can't,
No, he's city administrator.
All right, so nothing, so even the grant isn't approved yet.
Because obviously we're gonna tie it to approve it as is also, so.
Sure.
We'll have to discuss this further.
What,
The problem being time is of the essence, because it does, in order to have it ready for the fiscal year, we need to have it approved at our next meeting at least.
Well, I
Something,
don't
something is.
understand why we want to hobble an option when we have all the options, we have all the say. And we can decide who, and if they get one every year, or if they don't. So why would we have to have that in there if we still have all the decisions?
I think the motion's already been defeated, I don't think we need to beat it anymore, so.
Okay, but what are we gonna do then?
so how, what's another way, can we think about the recommendations to word this to where it appeals to all of us?
It gets much more succinct than case by case. which was the wording on the motion, would fail.
I'm surprised you don't like case by case. What's wrong with that?
My hesitation with it is while we have case by case. If we have them all come in at once, and I guess we do get the application. Okay, so can I change my vote possibly? What, so if they all come in at once,
Like a stampede.
can we get 10 applications for the first quarter? We don't have to approve the full amount of them, correct?
You've got
So
a lot
we
to say.
So we can limit, if they're asking for 50,000, we can say we're only approving 25,000, correct?
Right.
Yep. And we can completely deny them because we've already denied one. Correct. I will change my vote to a yes in effort to move this grant process.
Yeah, the call.
I think a new motion
Yeah.
has to be made.
I'll make a motion that we approve the grant renewal,
Restating your motion.
restating my motion as I,
Put the exact wording on there that it. Will you read the exact wording, please?
It was to adopt the current grant, amending the wording to case by case basis, removing the every other year.
Annually and then you review by case by case.
correct.
I'll second it again.
Annually review case by case, that's what you said.
It was just removing the every other year clause,
Right.
which makes it annually, and stating case by case basis.
If that is stated in the grant application, that the board has the right to review on a case by case basis. I know that, but I want it stated.
You can make sure that's stated.
Word for word, case by case.
You can make sure
Could you read that last? I think that's.
That is a CYA, that is what that is.
that's. Right. It's written on
And
it.
I'm not gonna spell that out for those who don't know.
Again, I think he probably tried to mute.
Right, I hate that, and then you can't get back in,
Well, if we have the
so
four.
I keep calling.
Well, let's vote again. If we have four, we will be fine. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Oh, aye. Oh. Oh, nay, okay.
What was yours? Were you still nay or were you?
I said aye.
There was the 5 of us.
Thank you for your consideration, I appreciate it.
Thank you for stating it.
Thank you. I don't know if it's I vote for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, that carried. We're about to adjourn. I did want to say one thing about painting downtown, and I know this is going into that comment, but, I like the idea, we can just talk about this later, but the idea of being proactive on the painting of downtown. Instead of waiting for business to come in West, maybe there's opportunities for us to go into the business, into the downtown, and maybe do some painting. And because if it's money that we're going to be forking out anyway, then some of the businesses who can't maybe even afford to even do anything, maybe there's something we can work out. Like, anyway, that's fun, but then on our radar, so maybe not using these spots. Okay. Anyway.
They have big cans of paint at Heartwood, they're recycled paint, and they're benign colors. And inexpensive, so.
And Leslie, just that when you're updating that, there is one typo in there under building must be occupied with an operating business. Under the 100% repayment, it says not open or closing within WITHING. I think within.
Don't turn.
So we are, I know one of our things up here was to fix some of the sidewalks and stuff. One of them that keeps coming up is the one at the Oaks Lodge where it's just pushing up, something's pushing it up, we don't know. I got bids from Goldman Construction, they're gonna come in there and fix that and make that ADA approved. So that's cross.
That'd be great.
And no more ramp to curb.
That'd be good.
We're gonna report on that, it's $6,700 we're gonna rip it all out ourselves and then they're gonna come in and report.
I have one other comment. I'm not sure if this is the right point, but it does have to do with painting of downtown.
Yeah.
I did a walking tour of Roseburg the other day, and I mean, some of those murals in downtown Roseburg are absolutely, you know, spectacular, and the quality of the artists. And I'm not sure how they got all those people that signed there, but they've got salmon.
Well, we have a
Yeah.
mural committee, should go through that.
I guess I'm gonna have to go to, get out the mural committee, because
Yes.
is that, did they pay for those? Is that what they did?
Well, our situation.
A lot of Roseburgs are backwards from the line of travel, direction of travel.
Yeah.
So if you're walking, you see them, but if you're driving, they're behind you.
I'm just not sure how they got all that done, but I was very impressed, and I would like to help see get some of those artists of that caliber and the size too. I mean, they're huge.
We've got a mural going in.
Okay, I guess. Point well taken, mural committee.
Yeah,
All right, we're adjourned.
You've done.
Yes, make sure I had every